everybody. So there's this weekly challenge on the Pentax forums for post-processing work and who can take a picture and do some exciting post-processing. My entry for challenge number 132 was this. I took this JPEG and processed it into this final image. The goal that I set out to do was to create an image that replicates a lighthouse where the interval shots are taken and combined to show the light from the lighthouse streaming away in a star pattern. And in terms of faking an image, this is, I hope, pretty successful. A word on faking images like this, I actually don't condone it unless you're telling people that you are faking something. I did this just to see if I could make it happen. And I'm going to show you how. First thing we need is we need another layer. And I'm going to change the blend mode on this to overlay. There we go. Now you can see that we're pretty darn close to the coloration here already. And that is what I did to create a darker nighttime effect with this image. Next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to fake the star that was coming out of the lighthouse. So to do that, I'm going to first need to create a shape. Let's go down here to the polygon tool, and we're going to click on the picture just to bring up this dialog box. So it's 100 by 100. That's not really what I want. Let's make it 450. Why not? We're just going to stretch and deform it anyway, but we do want 3 sides. Let's click OK. I'm going to click on the selection tool and go to Edit, Free Transform Path, and let's bring it down here. We want the point to be centered on a specific location in the lighthouse. Now we're going to extend this to the end of the screen. This is going to be our baseline triangle. Every triangle now that we make from this point forward is going to be based on this triangle. And we're going to go around the lighthouse in a geometric pattern. So let's hit Control J. We're going to duplicate this triangle. Go into Edit, Free Transform Path. First thing that we need to do is make the rotational point the point of the triangle so that all of the triangles rotate outward from the same point. Now we're going to rotate this 45 degrees-ish. You can do this geometrically, and I'll show you how to do that in a minute. I'm not going to. I'm going to kind of eyeball it because I want it to have a somewhat imperfect look. Now we're going to extend it a little bit. Now here's another thing we also need to do, because the light ray from this, we want to give it a look of coming towards us instead of simply moving up and over like a fan. We need to adjust the width on it. Actually, I take that back. We need to adjust the height. So for this intermittent, I'm going to make it 125%, which makes it a little bit wider. Apply, and you can see it looks a little bit more like it's coming towards us. Now let's duplicate this layer again. Bring it back up. Free Transform Path. Set the center axis. There we go. And we're going to set the height to 150. Basically what we're going to do is create a logarithmic expansion of the triangle's width, 100, 125, 150. Control J, duplicate this. And the reason I'm using the same layer over and over again is because it makes the math for the size expansion easier. We'll do it before we go this time. 175. Time to rotate. Let's bring it up to the middle. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go around and do that for each of these. So this is halfway around, and to do it the other way, we're just going to grab, so what we're going to do is grab all of these layers, hit Control J, edit, free transform. We're going to make the height -100. There we go. We'll bring this down. Now you'll notice that these two on the sides aren't overlapping perfectly. That's fine, because what we're going to do is find them. Nope. 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 There we go. Let's just delete that layer. We don't need it anymore. Okay. So here we go. We have all of our layers. The next thing that we need to do is rasterize these, because we want them all to be a single layer, because it will make it easier to edit them. So we're going to select all the layers, rasterize the layers, and merge the layers. Now they are all one layer. We can work with them easily. So pure white, that's not really the actual color that we're dealing with here. It's not going to be pure white. So I've hidden this layer right here because I want to grab a color off the background. Select our paintbrush tool, and let's come over here to this color wheel. This is the color that I used last time, 250, 208, 197. And what I did was I just started looking around here and picking colors until I found one that I liked, and played around with it until we got up here. We'll put it back to before, the same one that I had used. Now with the paintbrush tool, I just painted in all of this polygon, this whole layer, so that it's all the same color. And if you want to make sure that everything's the same color, there we go. Now we know for a fact everything is the same color. So these are going to be our rays, but they're not quite ready to become rays yet. First thing we need to do is blur them. So we're going to go into a Gaussian blur at 20 pixels. Great. Let's do that one more time. Now these are nice and blurry. There's a very good feather around the outside. So we did 2 Gaussian blurs at 20 pixels. I did not do one at 40 because one at 40 would have gone in with a deeper blur. This had a shallower blur followed by a shallower blur, which made the edges much softer than a single 40 pixel blur. Now we have to start blending these a little bit. I'm going to grab the eraser tool and we're going to make it 20%. 20% is a nice erasing level because it gives you the ability to feather and blend things in a uniform manner. And if you go incrementally like this, you can customize the way that you blend these to the light that's visible in the background. For these ones here that are closer to the light, in reality, if this were real, they'd be almost invisible because the light would be drowning them out, the sunset. So I'm going to make these a lot more faint than the surrounding ones. You can see that that's barely visible and that's barely visible. I'm not going to worry about these yet. We're going to take care of those in a later step. And a lot of this that I'm doing right now is just eyeballing it. And one of the things that I want to do is make these beams a little bit shorter because it gives the illusion of depth. If everything goes out the same distance in a circle, then if these are shorter, these ones that are going to look further away, these ones here, then they appear to be further away because the distance is, because of the disappearance, they appear to be the same length but reaching a different angle. There we go, that's further out. Okay, that looks pretty good. So we'll creatively erase that. Dim this one a bit, although because these are a little bit closer and in a darker part of the sky, we're going to leave them a little bit brighter. this is good enough for the purposes of this video. Now we need to get all of these rays behind the foreground. Well, we can't just drop them behind this, because this looks okay, but it doesn't look natural, and now it's still shining through the foreground. So we're going to leave this on top. We're going to go to this layer right here. We're going to grab our magic wand mask. We're going to mask this out like this. We need to make sure that everything in terms of the rays is captured. So let's just do a quick circle right here and here. These I have pretty good confidence in. I'm going to go up to the rays layer, hit delete, deselect, and let's take a look at how it came out. Not quite perfectly up here. Okay, and the reason that we came in here with the eraser tool at 50% and erased some of this, ooh, there's a little tiny spot that the masking missed. Let's clean that up while we're here. It's a really good way to spoil an effect right there. Like I was saying, the reason we came in here to erase these is because a lot of the photos I looked at that showed this, when I decided to try and fake it, this effect, the beams did not perfectly touch the lighthouse. So I decided to have the beam step back a little bit. That's a little bit much, honestly. It's more than the original. And the beams are a little bit lighter than they were before. Let's cut this back to 75%. Let's try the 65% opacity. There we go. That looks pretty good. Now, the reason I did that is that the beams here now have taken on some of the coloration of the sky behind them, making them blend into the sky, and that gives the effect of the light from the sky behind the beam coming through it and changing the coloration, which is what would happen in real life. Let's see what happens if we go back to 45. That looks even better to me. 45% right there. So here we are. This is as close to the final product as is really needed for the demonstration purposes of the video. And honestly, that in terms of convincing fakes is above average. There are a lot of people who, if you didn't tell them this was a fake, would probably believe that you had actually captured the light coming out of the lighthouse. And that's one of the many reasons it's very, very important when you manipulate a photo and add an element to the photo which is not there in reality, to be upfront and to tell people that you have done it. It's to my way of thinking, it is dishonest to change the substance of a photo without telling someone. I want to give a huge, huge thank you. This is not my photo, and it's a phenomenal, wonderful photo in its own right. So thank you very much to Tim, who took this photo and gave me the permission to use it in this video. And if you'd like to see the original post-processing challenge thread with this photo in it, that's in the description for this video, and you can go back and you can see the other entries, all of which were good. As of this video's recording, the winner hasn't been announced yet, so I don't know what the outcome will be, but there are a number of entries in that thread which are better than mine. The Pentax forums post-processing challenge, weekly challenge, is a pretty fantastic and heated contest when we've got a really good photo like this one. If you have any questions about how I did this, how I created this effect, or how to do other things in Photoshop, please leave them in the description, in the comments section below, rather, and I'm pretty good about responding fairly quickly. If this video was helpful, please leave me a thumbs up. That lets me know that I'm producing content which is useful and that I'm on the right track. If you have suggestions for future videos about photography or Photoshop, please let me know, and if I have the technical know-how on how to make them, I'm more than happy to. And one last thing, thank you guys for